And we're recording the backup copy. We're
Yay,
so
perfect.
ready. Alrighty.
All right,
Let's rock and roll on some
amazing.
Instagrams.
All right, let me get us going here.
All right, folks, we're talking rest recovery today, one of my favorites.
Yes,
Get
indeed.
excited.
Hello, YouTube family.
Yeah, right. The YouTube fam, the post watchers,
Yeah.
all good.
All right.
We appreciate everyone who checks it out afterwards, that's for sure. Got a lot more views than we expected, so we're gonna keep doing it. It's a good time.
Yes, indeed. All right, I'm looking at myself. Here we go. All right. I'm gonna add you, sir.
I'm ready. Man, these behind the scenes sneak peeks. It's like real Hollywood, but better.
Exactly how they do it in Hollywood.
We're definitely really in Hollywood, but better. All right. I get my angles right today.
So perfect.
Okay,
So
turn
good.
that volume so that it's not interrupting. Should be good there. We're good here, and there, and there, and here. Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
Alrighty. Hello, Instagram world. Oh, I'm sorry, my timer. 30 minutes. We're gonna keep this one here.
Let's see how it goes.
We're trying to learn the ways of the Instagrams so that it keeps our content. That's the best way to describe what's going on here.
Yep.
All righty.
All right, let's jump right into it.
Shall we do it to it? Welcome to Real Talk. Hello, I'm Coach Slovo.
Hey.
All right. So this week we obviously sent our questionnaire out. Thank you, Coach. And we got some responses related to things kind of in the rest and recovery sphere. So we figured that would be a really great one to talk about because it's one of my favorites. Definitely one of the overlooked glories that is taking good care of yourself. So I figured we would go ahead and tackle this one today. So, awesome. There's a share video. I don't know why it wouldn't automatically share video. Okay, well, here we go. Okay, sleep, first and foremost. Do more sleep. Number one, do more sleep. That's an easy one, right? As I look around at the world we live in, I notice that people don't seem fully rested. They seem tired. And there's a lot of stories of hustle and grind and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, not hustle and flow. That's clearly the right way to do it. But hustle and grind, maybe we got to dial that back a little bit. Yeah.
There's a time and a place for hustling, for
exactly.
sure.
Hustling's good. Grinding yourself into a fine powder of what you once were, maybe not the best strategy, right? No. So bottom line is sleep, try to accumulate it. All right. Think of it as just the more the better. There is a certain, too much of a good thing that we deal with here, but the vast majority of people aren't dealing with that. So I would say as we talk to a general audience, right? Yeah, let's just say you need more sleep. All right. So the thing I always bring up, and I always joke about this, that I wish I could go back to when I was a kid and like cash in on all the naps that I skipped back then, right? Now I want those naps back because I didn't use them and now I need them. So napping is awesome. If you can find 10, 20, 30 minutes, just close your eyes, get off your phone, like, yeah, do that. Like, even if you don't get a full sleep cycle, you're going to be much better off just by trying to get a little bit of makeup for whatever you might have lost the night before. So in terms of just like thinking about it, hey, the more positive sleep you have, we're talking hormone regulation, we're talking muscle synthesis and growth, HGH levels like skyrocket when you're sleeping, digestion gets helped. I mean, there's a long ass list. We gave ourselves 30 minutes today, so I can't list them all. Bottom line is try to get more sleep. Number one, get more sleep.
Okay, so I feel like that's easy for you to say because you are a childless man. And those of us who are growing people in our bodies have birthed those people into the world and are now taking care of them on a day-to-day basis, I feel like have a little bit less freedom in their choice of how much they're sleeping. I would have counted myself into that group until kind of working with you a little bit more. But for people who are like, okay, I'm already getting basically as many hours as I feel like I can between either if it's nighttime feedings or kids waking up needing a glass of water in the middle of the night or what have you. Like, how can they maximize that minimal sleep, if you catch my drift there?
Absolutely. Yes. I am not the best prepared to talk to the mom population of lack of sleep. I understand this and I completely and utterly agree. All right. So we're gonna go to number 2 there, which is going to be talking about quality of sleep. Okay. So if you can't get too much quantity, then you want to focus on upping the quality of the sleep. Okay. So when you think of, okay, what does that mean? I'd like to think of complete sleep cycles. You hear REM sleep and rapid, your rapid eye movement and all that kind of stuff, right? And all the various phases of the sleep cycle, right? We want to try to get all of them. Okay. So in terms of the quality of sleep, the best thing you can do is try to tee yourself up to essentially have the best night's sleep possible, as limited as those hours might be. Right. Okay. So the number one thing, and you already alluded to the fact that we are working on this together, coach. All right. Is getting rid of that screen time. All right. We're on here doing screen time. We're on there doing screen time. Right. Yeah, well, you're staring into a flashlight and then you wonder why your brain doesn't want to go to sleep. And it's like, because it thinks that there's a lot of light around. So it assumes that we got to do stuff, right? So don't stare into a flashlight at night. Like, that's a really good strategy. Keep your phone in a different room if possible. Keep the ringer on silent, right? And just try to get your to-do list on your screen time done so that you can get to bed. All right. So that would be number 1, is focus on that. And then number 2, I would say, is just give yourself a really good environment to sleep in, right? Think about, we get the best sleep during wintertime for a reason, right? We're essentially hibernating in our own version as mammals, right? So we want it to be dark and we want it to be cool, okay? It doesn't have to be freezing cold. And I know that everybody has their temperature preferences. I say the closer you can get to 60 degrees, the better. That's the way I recommend it. I like it super cool. I got all this extra hair on my body. So, again, as a male, I might have a bit of a leg up there. But yeah, like, get snuggled in the blanket and like have a cozy night's sleep. The cool and dark environment is literally helping your brain understand, like, oh, this is our rest time. Like, let's use it. This is the environment I want to be in order to get all rested up.
Yeah, I definitely feel like my sleep suffers in the summer here in Fresno because it's like still 90 degrees at midnight and we don't want to be running our air conditioning into the ground. And then in the winter, we don't even turn the heat on at our house because it's like such a great reprieve. But yeah, I for one have had, I told Rob this when we first started working together in a coaching capacity, that I would get what I felt was like a good quality night's sleep in terms of the hours, like the 6 to 8, but I would still feel like I woke up having been hit by a truck or having felt like I was out all night doing God knows what, just feeling like literally hungover. And it all came down to that screen time, just forcing my brain to like not get into a truly restful state. So I think even though I feel like I like crashed at the end of the day from being tired, just doing life, it was a fitful sleep. It wasn't like a deep sleep. And even my watch, which like kind of tracks my sleeping patterns in terms of like light sleep, deep sleep, and those awake times when the girls might come in and get me, or a dog barks or pukes or something awful like that. Yeah, kid puke, dog puke, it's all just bad. But yeah, it'll tell me what I was getting, and it was like all either light sleep with that little like pink awake chunk where I might have gotten up to do something, or what have you. But yeah, I finally have gotten into that deeper, like my deeper sleep is taking up most of the night, which was my goal. And I wake up feeling refreshed, which is amazing. So I give you big kudos for helping me get out of the habit of just putting the phone down, reading a book instead, or something of that nature.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing. I'm so proud of you. It takes an effort. We have these screens that we're definitely addicted to, and not any fault of our own. They are designed that way. Okay. So again, this is not a guilt factor thing. It's just recognizing the current state of affairs, like you got this thing in your pocket or in your bag at all times. It is drawing your attention as often as it possibly can. And guess what? Probably not helping you sleep better at night, right? So yeah,
definitely
that's definitely one of those that I think a lot of people watching today can go ahead and be like, oh yeah, let's put the phone in a different place or hide it, or at least just make sure that give yourself like a solid hour before bed. You know, people are always looking for quantitative, like, hey coach, how much of this or how much of that? It's like, go for an hour. Like start with an hour. Maybe you need more, maybe you can get away with less. Start with an hour. All right. We as a human society survived a very long time without flashlights to shine the news into our eyes at all hours of the day. So
much less news, just like junk, just straight up.
And that,
junk.
right? Cool, right? So there you go. So I think that kind of handles the sleep stuff nice and easy. So I wanted to get a little bit more into kind of the active side of activity versus rest. Okay. So first thing I like to bring up is kind of the big overarching theme, right? Is rest days. Okay. I like to say that a rest day does not equal inactivity. All right. It's just how you spend the time that day recovering in order to make up for a deficit. Okay. So what I think is like, hey, if I have a client or myself and I work really hard, whether it be a workout I'm doing that I plan or an event that I'm doing, or just it's a busy day with the kids, as an example that, you know, a lot of people watching this are probably feeling, right? Yeah. Okay. So now we're at a bit of a deficit. So our rest day should just be more focused on making up that deficit so that we can find that nice homeostatic middle ground that our bodies love to stay. Okay. So what does that mean? Hydrate. We talked about hydrating being number one on our nutrition day. It's the same here. Keep your water bottle nearby. Maybe you need some extra electrolytes to make up if you did a lot of sweating. That's totally fine. Okay. Just make sure it's a nice even balance of that. Stretching. All right. Massage. These things are like totally available in the home now. All right. You don't need to schlep off to some spa somewhere and spend a whole bunch of money. All right. You can take care of yourself.
You could do that too.
Right. And that's the thing, right? So in terms of self-care, that's the way I think of it, is like, what's the at-home version to bring us back to that middle ground, you know? So just think of it that way, not just, oh, I earned this day to go sit on the couch and eat whatever I feel like. No good.
Right. Yeah. Cause that just, I feel like that wrecks your momentum, that wrecks your mentality. Then you start this self-doubt spiral of like, oh, I'm not a disciplined person. If I'm not a disciplined person, then I'm not a motivated person. If I'm not a motivated person, I'm not going to achieve my goals. What are my goals even really? Yeah, it's just a whole downward spiral. And that's not to say that you should not, like indulge every once in a while in some like sitting in front of the TV, or I know you like to play video games every now and then. Like, I like to, sit and read a book for like literally hours at a time. So if I get sucked in, like, not to say that's a bad thing, but it's all about balance. And what I like to kind of think about in terms of self-care, which you sort of shed light on for me also, is that self-care does not look like, first of all, it doesn't look the same for every person, but it also is just like breaking it down. It's just caring for yourself. So if you take that mindset and make that little incremental change in like your day to day, you will find that you carve out way more time for self-care as you go, because when you're making meals, and again, this is a Coach Robinson that he taught me, he's like, why aren't you eating during the day? Oh, well, I don't have time because I'm, I'm meal prepping for my family. I'm packing lunches for everybody. I'm making breakfast. Okay, why didn't you make breakfast for yourself while you were doing that? Or like, why didn't you pack yourself a snack or lunch? It's like, all right, I was too busy not caring for myself to even build in time for self-care. So it's just making those little shifts every now and then, like taking out the whole like treat yourself kind of thing is great every once in a while, but really you can't do that every day. You can't go get a mani-pedi every day. You can't go to the spa for 5 hours every day. You can't go sit in a jacuzzi for, can't do your ice bath every day, but you can think about, is this right for me? Or even just making that mind shift. Like, I'm eating my food that I made for myself, right? Like, I'm nourishing my body. I love myself. This is caring for myself. Or I'm going out to go to a hustle and flow workout, or I'm going to do a workout on the app with Coach Rob. Like, this is caring for myself. This is not a to-do list. Like, oh, I have to go do this. This is part of my self-care practice. So that was a big mindset shift for me that I think most like moms in our group could make that little tiny flip of a switch. And suddenly, oh my God, we have time for ourselves. We're not this like rundown shell of a person because we're so worried about everybody else.
Right.
Sorry, my diatribe's over. I apologize. I got really passionate
I'm all for
about
good
that
treat
one,
yourself
that's been
reference.
a big shift for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Treat yourself 2022. It's the best day of the year. Yeah. A mix of that is fine, but that's the thing. Yeah, it's not sustainable. You definitely can't have a day on Rodeo Drive every other day. I know I can't. So
you're far away from Rodeo Drive. We're slightly closer, but
right. And that's the thing. It's taking advantage of those moments, right? And we talk about this a lot with like kind of the parent structure. Is like time is broken. You're just dealing with moments now. All right.
Yeah.
You can't set aside hours. It's just like, yeah, oh wow, I'm not doing something right now. Oh, let me take advantage. Like this is awesome. Like that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
It's just those brief glimpses, right? So let's get to number 4. Yeah. All right. And this is a debate that I think happens a lot at the gym. And I'm not sure how much it happens outside, but it's one of those things that I figured, hey, this is a really good overall topic to address it. All right. Which is the stretching versus self-massage debate, right? Ooh, especially with the big increase, especially before I left the gyms, like the Theraguns and everything of that.
I was just going to say Theragun. Right?
Oh my God, the abuse of Theraguns in selling personal training. I got some horror stories, but we'll leave that for another time, right?
We have 30 minutes.
Before that,
we have 30 minutes.
Trigger point, melt method, all these various, myofascial release things and all that. And then like your classic stretching, like yoga techniques and flows and dynamic stretching versus static stretching and all that. So like, what is better? Yeah. It's stretching. All right. And I'm just going to lay it down right there. All right. Straightforward answer. It's stretching. All right.
We're going to break the internet with this one. We're getting kicked off Instagram for this.
Yeah. Sorry. Our Instagram live stops automatically because we broke the algorithm. Right. Yeah. No, it's stretching, because stretching to me as a coach, the way I think about it is just elongation of the muscles that are usually A, contracting for activity, or B, sitting in a shortened length when we're in our sedentary behaviors, which as a human society in the year 2022, we're doing too much. So this is what I'm getting at.
Posture check, by the way.
Smoking. Yeah. Fix your posture. Okay. So yeah, it's the whole sitting as the new smoking thing. Like we want to make sure the muscles can elongate and have the capability to elongate, so that if we do activities, like we're not risking tearing or pulling a muscle, like that simple, right? The way that our joints work, like they're literally lubricated the more we move. So think of it as like lotion. I call motion as lotion, right? So the more I can move the body, Robinism.
I haven't heard that one yet. I love it though.
You never know. Damn. All right. So yeah, less soreness, fewer aches and pains, lower injury risk, right? More movement capabilities for when you do want to push it. Bottom line is like stretching is going to offer all these things. Okay. Now with that being said, I'm not anti-Theragun. I'm not anti-trigger point. All right. All I've learned in I would say the more modern years is that it's just not as good as we hoped it would be. It's not as big of a puzzle piece as we thought it could be, right? Is it helpful? Yes. Should you do it? Yeah, you probably should. My arsenal, I use a lacrosse ball. I use a foam roller literally every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. So like, yeah, I'm preaching to the choir here. I don't have a Theragun because again, I got horse stories with Theragun. So we're gonna leave that alone. But the bottom line is like, think of it as just, if you can do both, do both. But if you had to choose one, and if you're asking me, like, if I had to choose one, it would be stretching like 98 times out.
And stretching is accessible to anyone and everyone, and with very minimal props. Like it's like the walking of fitness, like all you need is a pair of shoes, right? All you need is a soft spot on the floor to lay down, and you are in stretching mode. Yeah, you don't need all the frills unless you want them, right? Like, unless that's the way you want to go. It's a very accessible thing for everybody. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, okay, so that brings me to a question about like, what parts of the body should we be stretching? Like, do you have this like a full body daily routine that you recommend for people, or should we be more like listening to our body and thinking like, oh, my hips feel tight today, so I'm going to focus on hips? Like what does that look like for you?
Cool. I think that's all true. So I want to start with that. I think that's it's both. It should be total body and also paying attention to what the body is specifically telling you, especially if you are dealing with like an injury history or a chronic condition, right? So the thing I like to bring up in this case is sometimes the body might be communicating that a certain point might be aching or in pain, but that might not be the cause of the pain. There's so much interconnectivity in the body that unfortunately you might feel it in one place, but the cause might be completely and utterly different. So if you just focus on addressing where you feel it, you might be missing something else. So I just go with the, hey, in order to be safe, just hit everything. Just the body is a unit. So let's get the whole thing working. Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of like, hey, if this is sore, what should I do? Treat above and treat below in addition to the spot is something I bring up a lot. So the most common one we hear, right? Low back. Low back. Oh, my low back's tight. Yeah, because like literally everything crisscrosses right there. All right. In terms of myofascial lines, in terms of, you know, kinetic chain, in terms of all these various biomechanical things we look at as like nerdy scientists from this end, is just like, yeah, no wonder you're tight there. Everything crisscrosses there. You could have tightness in your shoulder, in your ankle, in your neck, and you might feel it in your low back because everything crisscrosses there. So the tension might just be felt in that region. So all the people are like, yeah, I rolled my back out and then I'm good. It's like, yeah, but your shoulders might be tight. So this is what I'm getting at. Treat it like a whole body. Don't ignore what the body's telling you. All right. And that way you're giving yourself the best opportunity to essentially find the most efficient stage. Right.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying. Yes.
You got it. All right. And so for our last one, and we definitely want to tie it up. All right. 10 minutes on the clock, coach. 10 minutes on the clock. All right. What we want to think about is balance. Okay. So number 5 is the balance is the key to all of this. Okay. What I mean by that is once we get down our efficient techniques, like we have our routine, we know how to stretch, we know how to roll, we know how to rest. You're right. Now it's about taking the scales and finding that middle ground. Okay. And that's the hard part. That's why I have a job. This is my employment, is finding that middle ground for you. Okay. Because the bottom line is this, right? Say we have too much activity, but not enough rest. All right. I dealt with this a lot in like my more elite athletes or like high school collegiate athletes all the way up. And then just like even just really dedicated clients. Some of them just work super hard all the time. Right. But they're not getting enough rest. So now we're dealing with chronic conditions. We're dealing with higher injury risk. We're dealing with higher levels of stress, not only physically, but mentally, because if your body is now, you know, not able to perform at the level you're used to, you start getting in your head about it. Like, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? And it's like, you're probably not resting enough. All right. So we focus on that. Bottom line is though, like, yeah, we want to make sure that there's not too much of the activity, but at the same time, too much rest is sedentary behavior, right? I'm not telling you, like I said before, this is not permission to go sit on the couch and binge eat and watch whatever you feel like, right? Now we're talking about things like hormonal imbalances. We're talking about weight gain. There's another level of stress that we can get from this. And, you know, we were talking about the body and like your muscles are going to be stiff. Your joints are going to be achy and stiff and like, just no fun. Like I even put on my list, like you're going to have a less fulfilling sex life. There's an adult play for you, right?
Yep.
Want to have fun with your partner? It's not going to be as fun if you can't move your body. All right. Yeah. So like, yeah, I'm happy to go that far with it to be like, oh yeah, like literally it's all interconnected. So balance is the key. Perfect practice makes perfect. If you practice something badly, you're going to be really good at doing something badly.
Good at it. Yeah.
Right. So it's perfect practice makes perfect. Is it hard work? Yes. That's why we do it. It's because it's worth it. All right. So the bottom line is, you know, just if you need help, hi, this is what I do. I help people. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Hit this guy up. Hit this guy up. No, and I think it's important, like, because people keep sending in questions that are very specific to their specific injuries, ailments, dietary needs. And I love that we have this platform to sit here and, you know, we've really taken like in summation of all the questions we got this week. This is the best information we can give you, but we can't touch on everybody's personal, you know, back pain or shoulder tightness in this setting, because this isn't a one-on-one, right? Like as much as you're just looking at your screen at us, like you need to give Rob a call to really chat about like what's going on in your life, like that could be impacting all these things. So yeah, I just wanted to remind you guys that all of his consultations are 100% free. They're really fun. He's a really funny guy if you guys haven't already figured that out for yourselves. And he really just knows his stuff. So if you give him a call, send him an email through his website, which I'll link all that again, or just DM him now that you can see at Coach Lobo. Is it Coach Lobo Fitness? I can't see your whole thing. Yeah, Coach Lobo Fitness.
It's just at Coach Lobo.
He'll get at Coach Lobo. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I forget because there's little dots because it's
that's fine.
Mine's so long. I'm sorry. I'll link it. Don't worry, guys. But yeah, that's the best way to get your answers to these questions. Like, again, general overview is amazing. You can do better by just talking straight to him, and he's so friendly and accessible. Like, it's not scary at all. So hit him up.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole thing of it, right? Is just we want to be able to help as many people as possible. So we're happy to do this. We're having a blast doing it. But yeah, when it comes down to those individual questions, I mean, this entire fitness, wellness, game, whatever you want to call it, it's an individual sport. There is no cookie cutter method that works here. There's a couple of congruencies across the board, like stay hydrated. All right. But beyond that, let's chat it up. Let's sleep. And sleep and screen time and all that good stuff, right? So absolutely. Well, thank you. And so time-wise, we're approaching our 5-minute mark. So let's make sure we stick it under our 30 points because we don't want to screw it up. Fingers are crossed. We literally break our streak of getting kicked off of Instagram. So do you want to cover 2 truths and a lie from last time?
Yeah. So last week, Rob gave us a musical medley of true truths and a lie. So last week, the 3, situations, we'll call them, were, let's see, let me scroll down here. So my parents met in their high school band room. I am a guitar player, started taking lessons in middle school, or I've seen both living Beatles in concert. What is it, Rob?
Well, I can tell you which one's not for sure. All right, it's definitely not this one. So this is. Oh, we're gonna get serenade. A COVID hobby. I definitely started picking up the guitar when I was in middle school, but yeah, I picked it up again, and I got myself a sweet ass guitar during COVID. So it's not that one. And my parents met when my dad leaned over my mom and showed her how to play the chords "Color My World" by Chicago when they were in high school.
So romantic.
That is totally true. The falsity, I have not seen Ringo Starr in concert. I have seen Paul McCartney, but tricky Coach Slobo.
That was a tricky one.
It was tricky.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. I have not seen both Beatles live. And, hey, maybe I'll see Ringo one of these days, but that hasn't been.
And I'll announce the winner of the class pass on our follow-up slides as well. So thank you guys for voting and playing along. So this week, Rob, go ahead and tell us your new ones for this week. All
right. New top 3. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna block the screen so you don't see me. Okay. Number 1. Oh, and this is my injury history round. So we're gonna have a theme again. Okay, injury history round. Number 1. I got a head wound from skiing backwards off of a trail and into a tree. Number 2, I broke my wrist falling off of a moving car. Number 3, I shattered my teeth from a basketball rim hitting me in the mouth.
They just all make you sound like a hoodlum.
Yeah, right. Wow. Silly boy grows up as a boy doing stupid boy things. Yeah, exactly. I was just a silly boy doing boy things. Anyway, but that's our 3. All right. So make sure to vote. Make sure, we're giving away stuff. And I think that's that. So let's call it before it kicks us, because I feel so proud that it hasn't yet. So
we did it.
Thank you for being here to all who are here.
Thank you guys for watching. Yes, thank you, Rob, for your infinite wisdom. Get
Always
some sleep, y'all. Drink your water.
Couple more weeks and we'll do the next one.
Yeah. All right. Stay tuned, guys.
Until
Have a great
then.
day. Bye, guys.
All right. And I got us over
friends
on Zoom. We're looking good on Zoom. Thank you to everyone who tuned into this one after the fact.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We love you. Your dress is important, if not more, because you're our lifesaver.
We don't value anyone more or less. However you watch our content, we are more than excited.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Until the next time, see ya.
Bye.